1960s brought on a new craze to the British cycling industry, with Dawes launching their Kingpin, later renamed the Kingpin in 1964, and Raleigh launching their Shopper in 4 years later in 1968. It was truly the decade of the small wheel bicycle. Here on Car Hunting Unlisted today we have a Shopper and a Kingpin. We're going to be comparing both and see what the history is with Britain's obsession with the 20-inch wheeled Shopper bicycle. As seen in these vintage advertisements, the Raleigh 20 and the Dawes Kingpin were advertised towards very broad audiences. They were designed to be unisex and to fit any child or adult. The first bike we're going to take a look at is this one. This is the Raleigh Shopper. This is the one that everybody tends to remember when they discuss 20-inch bikes. Now, this particular example is 1974, as can be noted on the Sturmey Archer hub. This hub has a built-in dynamo which powers the front and rear lights, and despite being nearly 50 years old, it works absolutely flawlessly. Kingpin shares many of these traits. It has, again, a 3-speed Sturmey Archer hub. This one denotes it as a 1980 built bike. It has the same style of kickstand and rack. In order to properly compare the bikes, we're going to put them side by side. Now we're going to go handheld for this bit so we can really get into the nitty-gritty of the details. So here on the Shopper we see that the main tube here has 2 separate tubes on this section, whereas the Kingpin has 1 thicker tube. We then see here on this Kingpin it has an extra bracing that the Shopper never had. Those are the most obvious differences, but we also see differences in the handlebar shape, in the geometry of the rear triangle, and even in simple things like the actual sweep and shape of the bars, which do have some very subtle differences. So what I'm going to do as a test is we're going to take both bikes about a mile or two to the local pub and back and see how they ride. Let's go. First up, the Kingpin. So we start here at the heart of Rhydwyn, and we're going to head this way towards the pub. The thing with the small wheels is that these bikes have very different handling characteristics to big ones. They tend to be a lot less stable due to the smaller gyroscopic effect on the wheels, and you really tend to feel the bumps due to the lack of dampening in the spokes. So we're doing what is actually deceptively quite a steep hill now, and with the 3-speed it's chugging along nicely. Honestly, it was a great ride. I haven't actually ridden this one before, so I've got absolutely no seat time, but it went really smoothly. Gears shift well, it's comfortable. You're not going to be getting anywhere in a hurry, but I don't think that's the point. You go up quite a steep hill, and not a problem. So now we're going to head back and we're going to see how similar the 20 is. Okay, so I just got the Kingpin back, and now we're going to head off for the same journey on the Shopper. Now, one thing that's worth noting on this one is that since it runs a twist grip Sturmey Archer, it's a little bit more fiddly to get right. I'll just show you. So on this one, it's got a very precise, calculated feel to the gears. You just click, 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 and it goes into place. You have to back pedal to get it in. On this one, it's a case of guesswork and jumping out of second gear a lot. But at least I've done this strategically now that it's getting a bit later. The lights work. So let's head off. Okay, we're down back at where we started with the other one. And so far it's riding really nicely. I've got a bit more seat time in this one because I rode it around the Anglesey show. But in general, it's really good. So, we'll continue on the journey. So for the sake of variety, I've ridden about the same distance in the opposite direction this time, as opposed to going to the pub, so slightly less hilly. But the Raleigh, it handles it well. And thus concludes our adventure into the history of the British small wheel bicycle. Now, of course, there were other examples aside from the Raleigh 20 and the Dawes Kingpin, however those are the most notable. The Raleigh 20 is known for being launched with a massive number of versions, including the Triumph 20, the BSA 20, and all sorts of other ones, including international sales. And these bikes are starting to get a bit of a cult following. But that just about concludes my take on them. I think out of the two, I do prefer the appearance of the Raleigh 20 especially with the lights on the front. And they both ride pretty much identically, so there's not much difference there. So thank you all very much for watching. That'll be it for this video. I know I haven't done one in a while, but moving into the summer now, I should be picking up the pace and scheduling more, including something very exciting that'll be coming soon. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.